Doing gang things, living super clean. Daddy came up, can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side, hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Being on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had goal. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming bond the hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom while you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that moved up. Even if you had the slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could have took a bunch of dusty roads. All right, y'all. My bad. For real this time. Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins and praise the Lord. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mama. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Like, I was down here setting up and I didn't have all the channels on. Like I said earlier, I'm producerless, assistantless. It's nobody but me. So, if things are a little not as smooth as usual, that is why. So please allow me to introduce myself just in case you're like, who's this beautiful lady that has taken over my screen? I go by Miss Mono's World in these content creator streets, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places the content creators be. Please follow, like, share on the socials. If you're not on the YouTube, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue McGad, MONOLOG Shout out to my audience on TikTok. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I finally got my live privileges reinstated. Don't try not to lose them again today, but I'm like, TikTok is the old Facebook now. TikTok is the old Facebook. I used to be able to kind of freely express myself. Not that I was ever saying anything crazy, but TikTok now is like, I commented clock it under somebody's comment and that got a strike. Because I said clock it? Really? Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with TikTok these days. They are tripping. Speaking of YouTube, shout out to my hubby, Monologue McGann. If you head over to the YouTube, you can see some of his work as well as old episodes of Why BOAZ Don't Want Your Ass. Shout out to my audience on the science. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me this evening. If you have not downloaded the Messiah TV app, you definitely need to. You need to do that. It's on your Roku, your Fire Sticks, your smart TV. I haven't had a Fire Stick in so long. But yes, you can download the Messiah TV app and watch not just this show, but a lot of other great content, family oriented. You can find stuff for the kids, cartoons, movies, all that good stuff. So make sure you download the Messiah TV app. Okay. I have a good show for y'all this evening. I promise I do. The first thing we're going to talk about a few different things first.
But the first thing I wanted to talk to y'all about, I was watching this show called The Americas. If y'all have not seen it, it comes on NBC on Sundays. It comes on Sundays before Suits LA. Yeah. And while I was watching it, I wish I had the clip here for y'all. I do need to give a fair use warning because I am going to be using other content. So fair use, all that good stuff. Okay. So, but for this, I'm not. So, I was watching this show called The Americas. And on this show, every week they cover the wildlife basically in different parts of the Americas. So they did like the Atlantic coast, and then I think they did the Midwest. Well, last week was the Gulf Coast. And of course, a lot of it was concentrated in Florida, and they were talking about the Floridian aquifer. And it just amazed me because, we read in the Bible about the water below, and, before the flood, it never rained from the sky. The water will always come up from below. So when I saw them explaining the Floridian aquifer, I was just like, wow, that is crazy. And they were showing how the water like bubbles up from underground. Thank you for the likes. Thank you to everybody on TikTok. How the water like bubbles up underground. And I was trying to find a good short video to show you guys, but I really could not. I couldn't find a nice short one because everything kind of went in depth and it was, kind of long. But you can tell from these pictures here just how far this thing spreads. It's supposedly over 100,000 miles wide. And you can see it goes from Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and into the Carolinas. And this is just a huge plot of water under the ground. When Florida was having all those sinkholes, they were saying that this is why. And so the rain over time has created caves. And this is how people are able to go in there and to tamper with the aquifer. It is pitch black down there, except for when people bring lights. And so this it's like a giant water reserve, right? And it's supposed to have water for all of these Gulf states or whatever. But of course, humans have been tampering with it. So now you have salt water infiltrating the fresh water and other damage happening. So, but I just thought this was really cool because, the Bible tells us about water under the earth. So yeah, that was I will nerd out about stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about. I don't know how many of you all are old enough to remember Vivica Fox back in her young days when she was on like Two Can Play That Game. Was that the name of that movie? Yes, Two Can Play That Game. It was I used to love that movie. Okay, I watched it a few times. It was a really good movie. And Vivica Fox at that time, she was I don't know, because you don't have really a young black starlet that's really just out here doing it. Like she was back then, Leela Rashawn, gosh, who else? There were just, we had young black starlets back in the 90s. Oh, Gabrielle Union back then. We had young black starlets. Angelina, Shalom and Shalom, sis. Yes, she did. Vivica Fox used to be that girl. Do you hear me? That girl. Let me see if I can find a picture. Okay. Here's some pictures of her from back in the day. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so this is a couple pics of her from Independence Day. I mean, listen, you cannot hate on her. She was definitely doing her thing. Like I said, she was that girl back in the day. Yes, kneel on faith in Israel. Shalom and Shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sidebar. I'm gonna stop coloring my hair. Like I have come to the decision. I'm gonna embrace these grays and let them do what they're gonna do. I'm saying that right now. I'm saying that right now. That's the plan. But shalom. Thank you, sis. Yes, Nia Long, all them, okay? Like Vivica Fox, again, was that girl back then. So, well, fast forward to now, and she's older. Okay, she's 60, I believe, as we all get older. And now there are rumors of her getting a BBL. And I say rumors because even though I've ran through the clips, like I have looked at clip after clip after clip. And in none of these clips is she saying, yes, I had this operation done. However, when you like look at the videos and stuff, it's kind of like I don't, because you just hate to make assumptions, right? I wouldn't want people making those kind of assumptions about me. Like I wouldn't want people just walking around saying I had a BBL if I didn't. Okay. And then let's get real, like 60 years old, your body goes through changes. Like I'm only 44 and my body shape has definitely changed. If I did not work out, it would definitely look different. Right? Let me show this. Let me show y'all this video. Where is it? Is this it? Okay, I think this is it right here. We're gonna take a look at this one.
Ellie, I love your hair.
I mean, it's easy to spot me on the court, I bet.
But you've always been
There
like
you
that.
go.
See me?
Yeah.
Before you hear me. All done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's so fast. I love you.
Reporting live from Hyper Clubhouse in Atlanta for High Plus News, I'm John Abba. Vivica A. Fox is turning a lot of heads on the internet this week after being seen at a...
Okay, so this is the picture. This is the picture. These are the pictures that have everyone saying she has a BBL, right? Again, I don't want to make any assumptions about anyone, especially again, considering that this is a 60-year-old woman that you're talking about. So you have to account for aging. Now, I will say this, like it's clear, them videos is definitely BBL-ish. It's clear that she's had work done on her face, right? Like if you look at her face, it's obviously full of fillers. There's some other stuff going on there. I know how women's bodies can change. I will say this though, she has not had any children, okay? And I'm just saying that as a woman who has had children and knows what giving birth does to your hips and your behind, I would expect this from a woman who's had children. So I would expect this to occur naturally in a woman who's had children. Let's be real. If you've had kids out there, for the majority of us, I know I'll speak for myself, I always had what people call childbearing hips, but after I had kids, it was like more pronounced. You know what I'm saying? So yes, this could possibly be for someone who had children. I'm pointing all this out because she has come out and admitted to how she messed up in life. She messed up in life. I don't know how many of you all remember, but Vivica Fox and 50 Cent were like a thing. They were like a heavy thing. Everybody knew they were dating, right? Let's take a look at what she has to say or what she said about their dating situation and looking back on it. Find this video for y'all. Okay, here we go.
You know, I've said this many times before. 50 Cent was the love of my life. He was the one that, dang, kind of blew that one. Happens. I was young, had been used to taking care of myself. You know, 50 wanted me to be his princess, you know, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So, you know, my fault. But I am so glad to report to everybody that there is peace. There's no, we used to go at it publicly. Trust we did. And it wasn't by my choice. You know, I think it's just the nature of the beast, of who he was, not understanding who I was. But, you know, he's happy now. He's a beautiful girlfriend, and I'm very happy for him, so he can leave my ass alone.
Did you learn anything from that relationship?
Sure. Let a man be a man.
All right, so And again, so here's the thing, right? We grew up watching Vivica. She was that girl. All of those all of them were those girls. And spearheaded this whole "I don't need a man" movement, because this is when we start hearing these independent black women screaming this, "I don't need a man, I don't need a man." We grew up here, well, at least in my day, we grew up hearing this. And so now to see her at 60, right? And she's been called out for saying that she's ready to settle down, like in her 50s and 60s. And men, Kevin Samuels used to go in on her all the time about stuff like this, about how you gonna come and say you're ready to settle down after you've been ran through and used up and did all the things that you wanted to do, and now, oh, you want to be somebody's wife. And so I just want us to understand not to get so caught up in thinking that you have forever. Right. I know this is going to sound a little male centered and pick me, but the fact of the matter is that there are women out here who desire to be married. I understand not all women desire that. And if you don't desire that, then cool. Like, I can't imagine not wanting to be married, but if that's where you are, cool. But for the women who do desire to be married, I would advise you to pay very much attention to the time that is going by. Um, and I'm saying that because you may think you have all the time in the world, right? You might be in your 30s, you might be in your late 20s, you might be in your 30s, and you might be feeling like, I got all the time in the world. I'm not. It'll come when it'll come, and you just feel like you can take your time, but that's not true. Like that. That's not true. You don't have all the time in the world. I'm not saying for you to go out here and make it your responsibility to find a husband. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is, weigh your options carefully, because a lot of y'all will have some great options and you won't like him for something that you can change about him. I have a cousin who had a great man. He was taking care of her and her son. I mean, to the point where he was paying her rent. He paid for her to get her master's degree twice. She had a credit card just for her and her son. And I mean, this man chased her for years. And because he was overweight, because she didn't like the way he dressed, because she didn't like his hair, she decided that she couldn't be with him. And where is she now? Struggling, still, trying to figure out. And I've seen this happen to so many women. They'll have a good one. They'll have them a good one. He'll be a provider, kind to them, kind to their family, kind to their children, just willing to step in and do everything a man is supposed to do. And I hate to say it, but nobody likes a nice guy. Y'all don't like nice guys. Speaking of which, I need to go ahead and cue up this interview. Y'all do not like nice guys, and the nice guys are tired of hearing it. I'm not gonna play this part of the interview, but I am gonna mention it. There's a interview on YouTube by The Pivot. The channel is called The Pivot. And they did an interview with Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is the current Captain America. Hold on, let me turn this down so I can. Sorry, I meant to cue this up before. Anthony Mackie is currently the new Captain America, right? Like, he's somebody now. But he was somebody before. I'm not gonna say he's somebody now. He was somebody before. He has been in the industry for 24 years. I did not know that. 24 years before he got to be Captain America. And so in a part in his interview, I might show it, I don't know, but in a part in his interview, he talks about like how women are so mean these days. His nephew or somebody he was with went to approach a young lady and was like, "Hi, how you doing?" Da da da. And she turned around and was like, "Ew. How do you talk to people like that and then expect to be treated like a decent person?" I don't understand why we as Black women have come to the point where we're so repulsed by Black men. I don't get that. I don't get it. And then, oh, nobody likes me. Nobody wants to be around me. Well, your attitude is horrible and it sucks. I read a story on Threads. This guy was telling a story about how he met this girl and they were talking for a while, and so they're going on their first date. And the first date was supposed to just be a dinner. But then she's like, "Oh, can my friends come?" And he's like, "Okay, sure." I guess he must have been naive. He had to be naive because wanting to bring friends on a date without asking you to bring friends is an obvious setup. Okay, but so she wanted to bring her friends, and he's like, "Okay, cool, bring your friends." The dinner turned into a club date, which turned into another club date. When they got to the second club, the girls were invited to the VIP section, and of course, he was not. So he's like, okay, like they ran off to the VIP section, and he said he went over to the bar, was having a couple of drinks, was just gonna let them do their thing, and then, they could leave or whatever. But instead of the girls coming back to him, he looks up and see the girls getting in the Sprinter with the dudes from the VIP section. And so, like, come on. If you're out here doing stuff like that, what kind of man do you think is going to take you seriously? I can't even trust you to go out on a date with me and conduct yourself with any kind of class or manners. What do you think is going to happen? It's all fun and games when you're in your 20s and you're young and everything is where it's supposed to be and you got all the energy and all the time in the world. Listen to me. Every woman has her time in the sun. Most of us do. We have our time in the sun. We're young. We're beautiful. The world is in front of us. We're totally unattached. We have our pick of men. I mean, every time you turn around, here's another one. There's a bus coming every 10 minutes. We all have that phase in life, right? And so I hate to use the term hit the wall because it's not really hitting a wall, but you get older, you get more mature, you get more set in your ways. You have less patience for new things. And so now you're tired, right? You're tired. You done dated them all. You done been to all the places. Most of y'all done slept with them all. You done had them pay your bills and you done took trips here and there if you're doing it right. Some of y'all is just out here busting it open for nothing. But anyway, and then you're sitting there left with nothing to show. Right. And I know sometimes I get on here and I'm like, wow, y'all are stupid. You just giving up for free. You should at least have something to give for it. Yes, you should at least have something to show for it. But that doesn't mean that something is going to be substantial. That doesn't mean that something is going to be substantial. Whatever he buys you is going to be old in less than a year. And none of that stuff is going to keep you warm at night. None of those purses are going to take care of you when you're sick. It's not going to be what you want. So listen, while you have the choice, while your options are as wide open as they will ever be, you will never have as many options as you do in your 20s. You won't, because as you get older, people are going to start marrying. Men are going to start getting married as they get older, as you should be too. So you're never going to have as many options like them years after high school. You're never going to have as many options as you have at that time. Okay, so that is your time to sit back, chillax, and make sure you land on the right one. That is not your time to feel like you can just run through men like a Rolodex. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. It is what we have to get back to the original plan. The original plan was never to be a whore until your 40s and then decide to get a husband. The goal is to get a husband and have that be the one and only man ever in your life. My husband's sister, her husband, he was her first boyfriend. He was her first and only everything. And I love that for her. I'm not gonna lie, I love that for her. Like I told my daughters, I wish, I hope, and I pray. Thank you for the likes. I pray that their situation is the same. There should only ever be one. In a perfect world, there will only ever be one. I tell my husband all the time, in a perfect world, we would have hooked up at 11 or 12 and he would have only been the ever one. Only ever been the only one. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But we're so caught up in this, in this wave of feminism that we're in now that tells us that it's okay for us to go and spread ourselves thin. And listen, as much as no one likes to look, I don't like to wear other people's shoes. Okay. I do not like used shoes. I remember somebody somebody tried to give me some shoes and I have a hard time saying no because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but I refuse to be a hoarder. Okay. I refuse to be a hoarder. I refuse to have things in my house and my car just laying there around. So if I don't want it, no, I don't want it. I can't stand to wear used shoes because I just know that people put their feet in them and they sweat in them and everybody don't wear socks all the time. And so, no, I hate used shoes. So if I hate used shoes, why do you feel like that a man should be willing to stick his dun-dun-dun in something that's been used up? Is all I'm saying. I mean, just think about it. I don't wear used socks. I mean, I know some of y'all might be like, okay. All right. So yeah, like just keep that in mind, ladies. As y'all are out here dating and making your decisions and everything, just please keep that in mind. Okay. Um, all right, let's go to this clip of this interview. I think I have to check my notes real quick. I do have notes. Da-da-da. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's skip this and then let me get y'all to it. All right. So now in this interview, they're asking him about, how it feels to be Captain America now, how his children are reacting. They get into a little bit of his family life. So let's listen to this clip, okay? Fair use, all that good stuff. And listen, if y'all have not seen Captain America, you need to go see the new Captain America. You really do. Like, it's amazing. I don't care what anybody says. It was freaking amazing. I loved it. The kids loved it. It was a good time. Okay, but let's get into this clip real quick.
In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men.
It's okay, let me pause right here. All right. So these are the kind of things that I think about, not just from this clip, right? But from having been a single mother to being a married mother now, these are the differences that I see when it comes to the influence of a father and a man in our home. Okay. And now when I was a single mom, it was just me and my daughters. But even with that, I see the difference and how they react when my husband is home and when he isn't home. Like, even they notice a difference. Because when he's not home, everyone is so much more vigilant because the person that keeps us safe isn't here. And I thought it was just me. Like, I thought it was just me, and I was scared to say something to them about it. But they were like, no, we feel the same way. Like, no, we just don't feel safe when dad's not here. And so the carrying on of that sense of protection is something that I could never teach my sons. Like, yeah, I could tell them, okay, make sure you lock the doors and all this other stuff, but I can't, no matter how much I lock the doors and they know we have guns and we have dogs and we have an alarm, it's not the same as when their dad tells them, all right, y'all, I'm not going to be here. Make sure you lock the doors. Da, 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 da. I mean, because Paxton is on it. Like, when my husband has to travel for the dogs to do a breeding or anything like that, Paxton is on a job. I don't have to tell him anything. He walks around the house, he locks the doors, and then he'll come to me and be like, all right, mommy, I locked all the doors. And then he let his dad know what's going on. Nothing I can say is going to inspire him like that. Right? And I'm not even trying to present an explanation for that. We as people just have to get to the point where we acknowledge the power that God has put inside of a man. The power of a husband, the power of a father. We have to stop acting like that is not a real thing. We have to acknowledge that. And even, hey, even sometimes if we're not getting along with that man, we have to allow him to imprint that masculinity onto his son, or else where do we end? We end up where we are now with a bunch of men who don't want to be men. All right, so let's keep going with this interview.
If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like you see these.
Sorry, I'm not paying that. I'm not doing
And you're like, could bust your ass, boy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe.
Tight ass pants.
Yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, good, boy, you better lotion your ankle. Like, you feel it when you go to Europe. Even when you, like, I was just in Kenya and I was walking around, I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah. Like, yeah, I could tell. I know you can. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try.
All right, so yeah. Like that's really a thing. This is really a thing. And so what are we going to do as a people when all of the masculinity is gone? Who's going to be there to protect us? I mean, the whole complaint about American masculinity, as someone who was born and lived a little piece of my life in Europe, I can definitely attest that Americans are thought to be way more rude, way more egotistical. They come with a bit more machismo than men from other places per se, but isn't that kind of what you need to stay safe? Like, don't we want to present a strong front? What does the Bible say? If I want to come into a home, I got to tie up the strong man first. Well, if there's no strong man there, there's no obstacle to come into the home. And now our sons are in jail. They're being unalived by each other. We have a bunch of fatherless children running around. We have the absence of masculinity. Omni Rose, hey girl. it is so that no one wants to deal with masculinity anymore. Our boys don't want to grow up to be masculine because all they hear is their mothers talk about how bad the masculine men are. You don't hear mom complaining about the not so masculine males so much. You probably see mom hanging out with them and being their friends. And so if a mother is the first love of a boy's life, and that boy sees his mother associating with men who act a certain way, then what kind of lifestyle do you think that this little boy is going to grow up to follow? He's going to grow up to love what his mother loves, right? And so, I posted a picture last week of a man that had a shirt on that said, Black moms ruin sons. And I understand a lot of women kind of were triggered by that. They, went off in the comments. And I hear all that. And I understand it can be a generalization. But even if I'm not specifically talking about you, you have to admit that our sons are jacked as a whole. Like, our sons are jacked as a whole. Like, if we don't get a grip on this situation and get more men to realize, no, we need to do something about these boys, I fear for my daughters having any good options to marry. I fear for my daughters and my sons. I'm worried they're going to have too many options to marry. Like, I'm worried they're literally going to have 7 women running to them. Because it's like, we rent out party equipment, right? And so one time we rented out the heater, and it was a couple that was renting it. So the lady calls, and because my husband was out doing bouncies, so I'm answering the phone, and she's like, "We don't know how to hook up the heater." And my first thought is, girl, ain't your husband there? I don't know how to do that. So then I'm trying to think in my mind, okay, he showed me how to do this. How do I do it? Right? So I'm Googling and stuff, and I'm just double checking. And then I'm like, okay, do da-da-da-da-da-da. So then the husband gets on the phone, and he's like, oh, okay, I got it. Cool. Okay, great. We hang up. Boom. She comes to drop off the heater the next day, and she's like, yeah, we don't know what happened. We couldn't get it to work. And I was like, well, your husband said he had got it to work when we were on the phone. So she's like, yeah, it stopped working. And we couldn't figure out how to get it back working. She said it was like 3 or 4 men, and none of them could figure it out. And we're talking about older than me. Like, these people had to be in their 60s. We talk about like my parents' age. And you mean to tell me it was 3, 4 men standing around and none of them could figure out to screw the little propane line a little bit tighter? Because when my husband came home and looked at it, that's all he did. He went down the line, turned the thing, and was like, oh, that was it. 3 or 4 men couldn't figure that out. That is scary to me. It's crazy to me. It is crazy to me how many times my husband gets phone calls to do stuff that he does around our house all the time. And my mom's husband, I call that man my dad, because he's been there, and I'll fight you if you try to say he not. But he told me when I was getting ready to marry my husband now, he's like, listen, he need to be either able to fix it or he need to be able to pay for it to get fixed. You can't have a man out here that can't do nothing. But these men can't do nothing. They don't know how to fix it, and they can't afford to pay for it to get fixed. What good are they? We all sitting around crying, waiting for the plumber to come. I like, we have to open our eyes, because it's going to come to our own detriment. It's going to come to our own detriment. It's one thing when you young and spry, or even in your 40s, you got the movement of your body, the activity of your limbs for as long as the good Lord allows. But there's going to come a day when you need help. There's going to come a day when you need help. And what people don't realize is that, yes, your kids will go off and to take care of their own families, but you want to raise them with a strong enough foundation so that they'll understand, like, yes, you still have an obligation to your mom. But if you're barely raising them to understand family values, then why do you expect them to come back and take care of you when you didn't value family yourself? That's not the example you're setting for them. They don't see you taking care of your mom. They don't see you calling your mom. They don't see you showing love to your mom. So why do they think that that's something that they have to do when they grow up? Where's the picture for them seeing that? And I'm telling you what I've lived and what I've experienced, having grown up as a single mom and being the only members of our family here. We're like first generation Georgia transplants, me, my mom, my brother. All of our other family is in New Jersey. My dad's side of family is in Chicago. So having not seen certain things, it was a shock to be part of a 2-parent household. And now not only do I still have to remember my side of the family, but now there's my husband's side of the family to consider. And let me tell you something, for somebody who did not grow up seeing that, it's a challenge. I imagine it's a challenge for someone who did grow up seeing it. Okay, so same thing here. We have become so reckless as women that we don't give any thought to the examples that we're setting for our children. And then we wonder why our children are the way they are. Why, hold on. I'm trying to find something that I was watching earlier. This is not my YouTube. You know, and then we wonder why our children don't want anything to do with us, or as soon as they get a moment, they're away from us. You know, but can you blame them? Can you blame them? All right, I'm trying to find this interview. I'm trying to find this interview with Dwayne Wade. Here we go. Please tell me it's on here. I think it is. Okay. Yeah. All right. So no, I don't want that. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find. Here we go. Okay. I didn't think about showing this earlier, but now that I'm talking to y'all, I'm like, yes, we definitely have to talk about this. Where is it? Okay. All right, I'm gonna cue it up. This is another YouTube creator. I just saw this today when I was going through YouTube for things. It's from Pink Book Lessons is the channel. So, you know, I always want to, you know, shout out any creators. But so I want you to notice how this is from the Today Show. These are clips from the Today Show with Jenna Bush. And I want you to notice how she's talking to Dwayne Wade. Not only how she's talking to him, but how he is responding. Okay, I'm gonna be stopping a lot to commentate on this, but let's just look at this so we can really appreciate the attack on masculinity, like Anthony Mackie was just talking about.
Co-host. Hi.
Hello.
By the way, you know what? You can show that you're a real pro because you were walking in with 5 seconds. You did a little twirl, and then here we are.
It's the dramatics.
Who looks at a grown man and tells him that they were twirling? And then for him to say, "Oh, I was just being dramatic." Okay, let's go on.
Dramatics. I was just being a little dramatic.
I know this lady ain't just say conclusion of it all is his son, he's been dismissed and made out to be the black sheep because he don't want to be a girl. He's keeping a healthy distance from the whole circus. But as time goes on, it's being revealed that Dwayne's first wife wasn't as crazy as he tried to depict her to be after all. Look at
Okay, so I don't know if some of y'all are like, I don't think it was that long ago, but Dwayne Wade and his first wife, their whole divorce was public. No, that was a while ago. But yeah, so their divorce was public. She had everybody thinking that lady had lost her mind, that she was abusive, that she was just trying to keep him from the kids, and then lo and behold, Zaya Wade. Okay, so but let's keep going.
this man.
I was on Fallon last night. I love getting a chance to stop and sit down and talk with Jimmy and put on these outfits.
Yeah,
like,
was that diamond crusted?
Well, yeah, you know, I went a little rock star vibe
bedazzled.
last night. I felt like if I wore that on the show, that I don't feel like I would have been able to come back.
You know, every now and then over here, we have these boot camp lessons about the media pointing out their programming. But look at what they did here. They started out talking about a female and what was in her purse. Then look at what they transitioned to. Check out the segue. Pay close attention.
All right, you guys, our girl Scarlett Johansson is on the cover of InStyle magazine. And they asked her what's in her purse. Let's take a look.
Orange Tic Tacs. These are delicious. I love them. I like all Tic Tacs, but I particularly like the orange ones because they're sort of like a little treat, you know? You can't have like just one.
So they started off the clip with Scarlett Johansson talking about what was in her purse, and they didn't toss it back to Jenna to talk about what was in her purse. You know, the woman on the show. No, that wouldn't fit the agenda. Look who they tossed it to instead.
Well, you famously have a Merce.
Yeah, I've been carrying a Merce for a very long time.
Look at this.
Well, where y'all find these photos? That's when I was wearing it across my body.
Look at that. Look at it. I don't care what you call it. That is a pocketbook. That is a man with a pocketbook. Why? And listen, y'all gonna stop playing in my face talking about him and Gabrielle Union is married. They might be married on paper, but honey, has it been consummated? I guess would be the and how long ago was it consummated? When the last time it was consummated would be the question. You're not gonna convince me that they operate as a normal heterosexual couple. You're not gonna convince me that they operate like me and my husband in any area. In fact, later on, he talks about how she wanted to go 50-50 and he was like, okay, sure. But then when her money started running out and she went back to him and was like, oh, I can't handle the 50-50. He's like, okay, sure, whatever you want to do. And I know some of y'all think that like, oh, that sounds wonderful, you know, to have a husband that'll just let you do what you want to do, you know, whenever you want to do it. But I'm here to tell you that is the quickest way to destruction. That is the quickest way to destruction, to be led by a man who has no direction. Okay. And I know I'm not supposed to say this. What'd you say, Keith? It better not be no or taking that thing. I know that. What? What you talking about, Keith? No, I'm not supposed to say this, right? But we can't ignore the fact that we women are emotionally driven and we're supposed to be emotionally driven, okay? And so if you have a man that just goes along with every ebb and flow of yours, you're not likely to make it very far in any direction because there's no one there to be an anchor. All right. Some days, you know, like some days I'm a rock star. Some days I'm ride or die. Come on, boo, let's go. We can tackle the world. Yes, anything you need. And now when my husband needs my support, I'm that. I'm there, right? I'm not saying I flake off on him or whatever. But there are days when I'm just like, I don't want to do none of this anymore. Forget it. I'm gonna just go and punch a clock and just bump all this. I'm tired and throw the chickens away. I'm tired of everything. And so if my husband allowed me to call the shots based on how I'm feeling at any given moment, baby, we'd still be living in an apartment somewhere because I'm horrible with finances. I'm an emotional spender. I'm an emotional eater. Like I do everything based off of my emotions. We both can't be that way. We both can't be twirling and carrying around pocketbooks. That's not what it's supposed to be. And see, here's the problem when women don't want to accept men as authority figures, but demand that you come in to be my equal, if not less than me. A lot of marriages that we do see on television are depicting these overbearing women and these henpecked, soft, sensitive little men. I don't want to live in a world where women are calling the shots. I don't. We're petty and we're catty. We lie for no reason other than I don't like her. I don't appreciate the way she was looking at me today. There better not be no orange Tic Tacs in there. No, there were not any orange Tic Tacs. In fact, let's watch some more.
Here we go. Look at that.
Wait, are y'all in Paris?
Yeah, you know, Fashion Week.
That's like schoolgirl chic or something right there.
Yeah, listen.
Did anybody catch that? This man is.
I'm gonna show y'all when he pulls out his purse.
Oh, here's your purse.
See, this is my travel bag right now. This is my travel.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see this? That is a freaking cosmetics bag. That is something that I would pack my makeup in to go on a trip. That is okay, but let's keep going.
Purse right here.
By the way, your travel purse is nice.
I got a lot of things in there. One of the most important things in here is I got my Jen and Friends
friendship bracelet.
But I need.
Did this man just pull out a freaking beaded bracelet? And it's not like I would respect it more if he was wearing it because, oh, my daughter gave it to me. But you pull a beaded bracelet out of your purse. Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am.
I need to make sure that my lips stay, you know, they ain't dry.
Wow, you are organized, by the way.
I got my eye drops in here.
Yeah.
This is important, everybody. I'm sorry.
Oh, like I was like, what is
when
that?
I go eat, when I go out to restaurants, you know, I don't want to be sticking my hand in my mouth, so I got my nice little
Speaking of hands,
this woman.
I needed affordable therapy that fit my hectic schedule, and Rula delivered exactly that. Since starting,
I wrote on her board.
Wait, I went too far. I don't know if y'all see this, but this man's hands, his nails are done.
Jenna is so sad.
Oh, sorry.
Big things, and a lot of it is my wife has went out and she's been working on her entire life since he was 19 years old.
Okay, I lost it. I lost the man purse thing. Cannot find it. Okay, but yeah.
We got married.
This man has his nails done. He has a full-on gel manicure, it looked like. With a design and everything. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroys kings. One of my favorite verses. Yes, a whole bracelet. And again, like I said, I would have respected it more if he would have just been wearing it like, oh yeah, you know, my daughter made this for me, so I told her I would wear it on TV. No, it's nothing like that, okay? He's carrying it around in his purse. Right. And so, listen, I know, you know, nobody likes to talk about this, but as you may have been noticing or not noticing, but once you allow one perversion to come in, the rest of the perversions feel like they have as much right to exist as loud and as proud as the other ones. This dude used to be my favorite basketball player. So, some of the comments on the video were people saying, dang, we all owe Chris Bosh an apology. Because I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Heat from the 90s, okay? But it was D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and why do I want to say it was like one other guy on the team that was like really big? I just can't remember. Y'all help me out in the comments, please. But back then, all the feminine jokes were about Chris Bosh. Everybody used to like dog him out so bad. They would make all these flamboyant, flaming jokes about the man, and come to find out he the only. Was it Dennis Rodman? Well, I don't know who it was. Shaq? Help me in the comments, guys. It was D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and somebody else. And they had this like Miami Heat trifecta going on for a while in the 90s. But yeah, it was all, Chris Bosh was getting all the fairy jokes at the time. Come to find out, he's not. This is acceptable, but masculinity is toxic. Black America is good. Exactly. It's to the point where what's supposed to be is not acceptable anymore. Men who act like men are now considered a threat. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's like anytime you see a man exert himself or thank you for the likes. Anytime you see a man assert himself, assert his masculinity, all of a sudden you have women cowering and ooh. And so like in these sitcoms, right? Okay, like even in this new sitcom, it's not a sitcom, it's a show. Grosse Pointe Garden Society. You said LeBron. Because Bosh's wife cheated with Weezy and wanted to leave. That's why everybody was saying it? No, they was calling that man the F word hard. It couldn't have been because of that. I hope not. Shucks. That wasn't the 90s. It was around. That wasn't the 90s? What was that? The early 2000s? I think everything happened in the 90s. I just think everything happened in the 90s. So whenever it was, okay, we all owe Chris Bosh an apology. Sorry, Chris Bosh. It wasn't you. But okay, so in this new show, Grosse Pointe Garden Society, right? Here's what they do, right? Here's what they do. If there is a married couple, if there is a black man, he is usually married to a white woman. And the white woman is smarter, sharper. She's in charge. She's running the house, and the husband is just an agreeable servant. Same thing with white men. Because like in this show, there are a few married couples. But the one married couple the man is white, but he's browbeaten. His ex-wife, when they were married, he put her through law school, and then she was supposed to help him open a car restoration business, right? She graduates from law school. She gets a job at a law firm, meets a rich lawyer, he's partner or whatever, leaves him, takes the kids, and moves in with this rich guy. And now the rich guy is trying to take his kids, and this poor sap, all he can do is sit there and cry and complain. And I know you might be like, oh, well, there's a man in there who's providing. Yes, but even the guy who supposedly, took the wife and the kids, even he has like feminine, catty, around those kind of traits. You don't see any man just standing up and just straight up being a decent man. Like no decent man is going to just try to come and take another man's kids because he's jealous. Men are not supposed to operate in those emotions. I'm not saying that they can't feel them. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be crazy to say that a man isn't supposed to have any kind of feelings. No, but he's not supposed to operate in those emotions. Like the logical side of him is supposed to step back and say, okay, I need to do what's best for everyone in this situation. I need to do what's best for the kids, especially in this situation, and put my feelings to the side. But in this show, you have a bunch of men who are just as scheming and conniving as the women. I don't know how many of y'all are old enough to remember Desperate Housewives. And don't get me wrong, I love that show. Okay. But in the show, it turns into the men being just as conniving, sneaking, and lying as the women. And so it's like, where are we drawing the line here? What is the difference between the feminine and the masculine anymore? Do you remember in Genesis, it's the world was without form and void. It's just like with lukewarm water. It's not good enough for anything. Cold water will make a thing cold. Cold water can quench your thirst. It's very refreshing. Hot water is good for soothing. It's good for making tea. It's good for boiling and extracting things. Cold water and hot water have their own individual jobs. But if you mix them together and come up with lukewarm water, it is good for nothing. Lukewarm water does nothing. You'll just be wet. You won't be soothed. You won't be refreshed. And if you're like me, you're just going to be irritated because who wants to be wet for no reason? It's the same thing we're doing when we're mixing the feminine and the masculine. You're taking the nurturer, the gift, not the birther of life, the person who's supposed to be there to solidify the foundation of your children and raise your children. You're taking that person and now you're trying to make them into the provider. Let's just take it back to our hunter-gatherer days. There had to be definite boundaries in our roles or nothing would get done. Okay, because the women stayed home, tended to the garden, raised the children, kept the house while the men were going out, collecting the food, getting supplies for shelter and stuff like that. Well, if the women are trying to go out and hunt the food and get the supplies for shelter too, who's growing the vegetables? If everybody is out hunting for cow and chickens and whatever else they was hunting back then, who's at home growing the vegetables, washing the clothes, cooking the food, drawing the water? Everybody doing one thing leaves a lot of other stuff not getting done. And listen, we go through this in my house. I have my spells when I'm talking to my husband and I'm like, well, maybe I can go get a part-time job somewhere, just a couple hours, get out the house, get me a little spending money, whatever. And it just does not work with the way our life is set up, because if I'm not here, there's nobody to answer the phone. There's nobody to help with people coming to pick up their orders, stuff getting dropped off, something's going on with the kids. There's nobody here. There's nobody here to take care of the dogs. There's nobody here to cook dinner. So much stuff goes undone when we are too busy trying to play each other's roles. Who would send a woman out to hunt? I know these shows try to make it seem like it's cute and all, but I'm telling you right now, yeah, you can send me out there with a gun and I might be able to hit me a buck between the eyes, but who carrying that? Who's carrying that to the car or wherever it gotta go? And then who is cutting that thing apart and taking, who is doing that? Not me. Listen. Y'all just need to leave the men to do certain things. You lack the strength to do it effectively. I don't assume that it's easy to, what do they call it, dressing or processing the deer. I don't assume that that's easy. You're talking about a lot of tough skin and muscle. Let the man do it. That's what he got all the muscles for. Take your behind in there and go pick some freaking greens and get that to cooking so we can have a balanced meal instead of just too much meat. A false balance is an abomination. That is not what's supposed to be going on here. Boss started whining about a trade playing weak, breaking up the trio. Oh, did he? Oh, I wouldn't have wanted to play with D Wade either. Them niggas was in high school in the 90s. So was we. I didn't know. I ain't know. I was in high school in the 90s. Well, the last five 4 years. Yes, I spent that extra year in high school. You're welcome. Pat Riley was with the Lakers in the 90s. Okay, yes, he was. I do remember that. But now, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining us. Sis said hunting for cow. I mean, I don't know. What was they hunting for back then? Like gazelles? And I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. Buffalo, something. I don't know. But I know I wouldn't be out there doing it. Okay. That's what I do know. Right. And so this is not even where I was gonna go tonight. But hey, here we are. And so last week I talked to you guys about being content, right? YouTube, TikTok, wherever you are. Really, I don't know why it wants to be so sensitive. It knows my husband is in here. See, even the machines start acting crazy when they know my husband is in here. Okay, so last week I talked to y'all about being content and getting to a place where you can be content versus being complacent, right? And I know one of the most aggravating things, at least for me, is like, okay, I'm going to be content. I've decided that, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to be still until I hear from the Lord. I'm not going to make any more moves. I'm going to be content. And so the question is, now that I'm content, where do I go from here? Okay, good. You can hear me now? Okay, great. Yes, I'm going to softly push that button. Okay. Now that I'm content, where do I go from here? What do I do now? Because remember, being content is not being complacent. Okay. Being complacent is deciding that you are going to be satisfied with whatever little effort you feel like putting forth into a thing on that given day. Okay. But when you're talking about being content, you are happily, patiently waiting in whatever mode that you're in right now for God to take you to the next place. And how do you do that? You do that by walking in obedience, okay? You obediently and you patiently wait, all right? You don't turn to the streets for extra money. You don't hit the pole for extra money. You don't call up Buddy and start trying to date him so he can get extra money from you. And I know some of y'all out there are going to be, well, I'm not having sex with these guys. You're not going to lie to me. First of all, you're not going to lie to me. You can lie to yourself. And so, but something I want y'all to understand, okay? Please, 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 because I'm not saying it's not possible. Sure, it's happened. You can get a guy to give you money without having sex with him at that time. But please believe me, honey, that bell is going to come a calling. And he is going to expect something for the investment that he put into you. Okay, so you might think it's all fun and games and it's all cute now until one day he's standing at your door with his in his hand and expecting some recompense for what he has already shared with you. It's just not worth it. Okay, it's not worth it. And so I'm here, I'm content, I'm putting forth my full effort. What am I going to do until I hear from God about the next step for me to take? And what I'm going to tell you to do in the meantime is live your life, boo-boo. Live your life. Like, Black people, we don't really do a lot of extracurricular stuff. We don't. A lot of us, unfortunately, don't leave our neighborhood, don't leave our city, don't leave our block, don't leave our state. There's a whole wide world of things for you to explore. And I'm not saying you have to explore the world. You can get out where you live and do things. Right here, there's like so much hiking and so much natural beauty here in Georgia. There's especially with spring getting ready to go on, there's a fair, there are things to do all the time. Deciding that you want to live for Christ does not mean that you cannot have a normal life. Now, listen, if you feel like the Most High has called you to a life of solitude or the life of being alone, then that's on you. That's on you. I'm not here to tell anybody what God is telling them or is not telling them. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Trust me, I've heard some things. Okay, and I'll be like, you really think God said that to you, huh? Is that's okay? Far be it from me to tell you that that's not true. Don't sound right to me, but okay. So listen, if you're saying like, no, I can't be around certain people, and hear me, if you are on a dating hiatus, if you know that you probably need to recluse yourself to work on your self-control, then by all means do that, okay? But if you are, seeking social activity, or you just tired of sitting in the house all the time, instead of sitting in the house and wallowing in that frustration and letting it turn into depression, anger, and loneliness, which is just going to lead you right back into sin, you have to find some other ways to enjoy your life. Like, listen, y'all, do some old lady stuff, okay? My daughter has been going to this line dance and cardio class, and I know you might be like, well, Miss Mono, you are an old lady. Okay, yes, I am. All right, I'll be 45 this year, Lord willing. And so, but even at my age, I was thinking like cardio line dancing, like, I don't need that. It's going to be a bunch of grandmas in there. But no, I mean, it's ladies of all ages. It's some 30, 40s, 50, 60s. It look like it's some 70-year-olds in there. But we have a good time. And it's a good way to connect. It's a good way to just be around other people and just soak up some good energy, right? Here's the thing. When you close yourself from people, you're closing yourself from opportunities that the Lord may be trying to present to you. All right. But if you're only ever in the house, you're never out, you're never getting to know people, then how can anybody tell you about anything if they don't know that you exist? The opportunities are not going to come knocking on your door. They're not. You have to go out looking for them. Let's say that is not old. It's not old to me, but to somebody I'm old, okay? Like these children will tell you, to them I'm old. But no, you don't think I'm old? You called me an artifact the other day.
That's not you.
That's not me. Okay. Paxton Atticus, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here in the building. So and listen, everything doesn't have to be about spending money. Okay. Everything is not about being fly for the internet. Everything is not about getting content. Okay. It's not always about what you can do to show other people that you're living your life, because a lot of people do stuff just to do that. I've definitely been through that. In the early Facebook days, you go through a breakup and, I gotta be seen here, I gotta be seen there so I can post pictures and let them know. And I'm telling you, that is such the biggest waste of time and energy. It is the biggest waste of time and energy. That is not a reason to live your life. Okay. Go and do things that are gonna make you happy. If it makes you happy to hike in the mountains and look at waterfalls and find old ruins, then do that. Do that, because you know what happens? When you go to meet someone and they ask you, well, what are the things that you like to do? And you have no answers to someone who's really trying to build something with you, that's going to make you seem kind of shallow and a little immature to not have anything that you like, or to not be able to articulate that this is what you like. Okay, if a man is asking you, so what kind of things do you like to do? And you say, I just like to watch TV and, I like to stay at home. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to try to come home and watch TV with you. You left him no other choice. But if you can tell him, I like to hike, I like to go bird watching, I like to go rock climbing, I like to go for walks. I like to go for picnics. I like cooking classes. I like candle making classes. I like to do paint and sip. Okay, now we have options of things to do, to explore, to get to know each other. Right? But a lot of you guys, in your contentment, for some reason, you feel like it is your job to just sit around and wait for a man to bring you a life. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be living a life on your own and then letting a man come and add to your life. But this man should not be the foundation of your life. That's a privilege that's reserved for now we get married and we're starting our life together. So now we're going to mesh things and form our own things. But you should have your own things before you begin dating seriously. Why are y'all drinking my tea?
Look at the comment.
Why? But why do y'all do that? Every time. Next time they come in here, I'm gonna have some hot sauce and I'm gonna put some hot sauce on the rim of the cup. They do this all the time. They do it to my Stanley with my water. What?
I just wanted to try because I saw how to do it. I wonder how it tastes. If you try and put hot sauce on the rim, then I'll just get a straw.
Okay, we'll see. I'm gonna have a trick for him. I got something for him. I got something for him. Nephew, say hey to Auntie Angelina. Let's see. I like quiet art museums, and my future husband got to be ready to be boring in there with me. Exactly. And so now you could tell him, hey, this is what I like. So when y'all are dating, now he has some place to take you. Like, me and my husband get into this all the time, right? When we were dating, don't laugh at them, but nah, they always taking my stuff. When me and my husband were dating, we used to always go places. Restaurant, movie, shows, museums. I think we did an escape room together once. Like, we were always looking for stuff to do together, right? At the time there was this app called Scout Mob. I don't know if Scout Mob is still a thing, but Scout Mob would have coupons to local restaurants. It was like a little mini Groupon. So you would go on Scout Mob, it would tell you the restaurants around you, and then it would have an offer for you to go to those restaurants, like free appetizer, free drink, whatever. And so we would do that all the time. So we went to all kind of restaurants. I mean, it's just stuff we were doing when we were dating, right? And so we get married, we had the boys, we were getting ourselves established, we're just starting out. We didn't really have any extra money to go and hang out and do those kind of things. And so now, when that time has started coming back around, I'm looking for the same type of activities and planning and stuff that we had going on when we were dating, right? Because, hey, now, okay, we got money. We can get back to being adventurous and going outside. But when I was talking to my husband about it, he was like, well, you were the one that was planning all that stuff. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you planned all those outings. I was just going along with whatever you wanted to do. And I was like, what? You mean I curated our whole dating experience by myself? Like, none of that was any of your input? And it really wasn't. It really wasn't. And that just, it went to show me a few things, first of all. If a man likes you, he will. If he likes you and he wants you to be a part of his life, he will go to the museums with you. He will go to the shows with you. He will watch the documentaries with you. Like, he will do the things if he likes you. Okay. And then, like I said, if you have something to suggest, then you can grow from there. But if you both only want to Netflix and chill, then that's all that situation is ever going to be. All you're ever going to be is friends with benefits. All you're ever going to be is Netflix and chill buddies, because you don't have any other interests. Nothing else sparks your mind. You have nothing else to articulate to this man that you enjoy doing. Men do things women enjoy doing because men like women. Period. That's the only reason that he's gonna go anywhere with you. That's the only reason he's gonna pay. All of my husband still to this day talk about how much our first date costs, and it's not a big deal to me. I'm used to dates costing that much, but for him, it's like a big deal. Give them something to talk about, and now give him something to talk about. If all he can ever tell his boys is, "Yeah, I pulled up at the house with a bottle," and how do you expect to build something out of that? What kind of relationship do you think that that's going to be? It's not going to be one, because as soon as he finds someone else that actually has interest and has a life, he's going to go over there where it's more interesting, just like you would. Just like if you were telling a dude, "Oh, all I want to do is Netflix and chill," and he came and swept you off your feet and started taking you to all these nice restaurants and movies and theaters and showing you all these different things. Okay, this who I want to go with. I know for my former self, back in my former days, I want to go with who's having fun. Like, I want to go with whoever is having fun. And so why don't you think that men want the same thing? Like, they want to have a good time too. But again, if all you have to offer is Netflix and chill, if all your mind can think of is, "Oh, well, pull up with a bottle," you'll end up being a friend with benefits. For real. No to Netflix and chill. Exactly. No Netflix and chill. No Netflix and chill without marriage. It's the only time we Netflix and chill. When you're paying the mortgage and the Netflix bill and the electricity bill, when you're paying for the Netflix and chill, then we can Netflix and chill. All right. But as long as it's my rent, my furniture, my electricity, and my Netflix, baby, we're going to do something else. All right, I just wanted to leave that with y'all, and I'll probably go more into that next week, because that's what I meant to do. But yes, once you are content, live your life. Okay, in obedience, live your life. You can go out there and have hobbies. Go horseback riding. Go go-kart riding. Go whatever. Don't go ATV riding. Them things scare me. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me this evening. I hope something that I said was helpful to you, whether you're listening live or on the replay. Atticus, you need your own chair. You need your own chair, because you're over here doing too much.
And I have to say one thing.
What is it that you have to say?
Always pray to Yahweh.
Always pray to Yahweh.
And never give up.
Never give up. All praises to the Most High. Did you have anything that you wanted to add? If you're in a Metro ATL area and you are in need of a bouncy house or any other party services, tables, chairs, tents, things like that, hit us up at Top Tier Parties, toptierparties.com, facebook.com/toptierparties for your custom printed apparel. The Print Doctors, theprintdoctors.com, facebook.com/theprintdoctors, or you can send us an email, theprintdoctors@gmail.com. You can also email us at toptierparties. toptierparties@gmail.com. Mono's West Side Bullies, our newest puppy. The owner is coming to pick him up, and I'm so happy. I can't wait to get that puppy up out of here. He has a owner and a cup. Get you a cup, my little friend. Yeah, get you a cup. Get your own cup. How about that? These boys they don't have no mercy on me. None at all.
I have mercy on you.
All right, y'all. So, tomorrow at 8:00, I believe Monologue McGad will be back with another Sabbath night class. Please, honey, confirm in the comments. Okay, get up, please, and move over. Thank you. Please confirm in the comments, dear, the time for class tomorrow. What else? Nothing else I could think of right now. What? Nothing. All right, yeah, nothing else I can think of right now. Okay, my honey didn't comment. So I know last Friday it was 8 o'clock. I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Fruit Forward Fellowship. Next Thursday, I will be back here, same black time, same black station with more Why BOAZ Don't Want Your Ass. Also, guys, I'm almost finished editing my very first ebook. I'm almost finished editing it. I have to put a few more things, a little bit more polish on it. I have to run it by my final editor. I have not ran it by the final editor. That's my husband. I don't like to show him anything until it's perfected because he's very, man, you talk about somebody being critical, boy. And like, he lives on operating excellence. Like, that is like, oh. So I refrain from showing him anything until I'm absolutely sure it's done, or until I don't see any mistakes, right? Because if I show it to him and he points out something that I already knew is wrong,
I'm sorry. Continue, please.
please excuse him. If I show it to him and he points out something that I already knew is wrong, it's just going to irritate me. I'll be like, I already knew that. And then he's going to tell me why it's wrong. And then I'm going to be all, ugh. So a couple more weeks. I have to finish editing. I'm going to add a few more. I've decided I'm going to add a few, maybe 1 or 2 more bullet points. I have to do the cover, and then we have to go through the actual publishing process. Being that it is my first ebook, it is going to be free. Okay, I'm going to be offering it for free. And you know, the next one will not be free. But Lord willing, please, Yahweh, breathe on my book and let it do well, and then that will hopefully open the door for other opportunities as far as my writing. Kick the chef, shalom and shalom. Angelina, can't wait for the book, sis. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for your help. Seriously, I'll be sending you another edit soon. Once I add the bullet points and some references, you'll be seeing it again. The joy of having boys. I mean, come on, like the burping and they boys for real. The burping is ridiculous. Nobody prepared me for having boys. I'm serious. Like, these two will be just sitting there talking. Next thing you know, it's a whole on fight. And I'm just like, wait a minute, we were just talking. Now y'all fight. It's crazy that having boys and having girls, night and day. Totally night and day. Huh?
At least you have kids.
Yes, I appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah.
God, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Why would you do that to him? Thank you so much, Banath. I will make sure to let you, I promise y'all, as soon as it's out, I will let y'all know. All right, thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. For real again. Anybody else got anything? No. I love you so much. See y'all here tomorrow. Fruit Forward Fellowship Sabbath class, 8 o'clock. Next Thursday, same black time, same black station, more Why BOAZ Don't Want Your Ass. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this evening. If you need to, you can reach me, DM, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, email, missmanosworld@gmail.com. I love you so much. Shalom, shalom, and good night.
Doing gang things.
Mono.
Living super clean. That it came up.
One time for my king doing king things. My these hoes cause he know he got a good thing.
Tune in to Why BOAZ Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magad. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why BOAZ Don't Want Your Ass.